Alright, it is 9:04 a.m. March 26, 21, and I'm on the second screen. I'm going to be looking through the chat. I need to catch up and see any new tickers that might have came in the past 2 days, so I can see, what other stocks have been moving, especially LTCs. Not really too interested in NASDAQ stocks. And I also made a new thing yesterday with Charles Schwab. If the trade isn't going the way I want, it might help, it might be worse. But I'm going to try it. If I press Control and the F1 button 2 times, I believe, it will make like a market order or just immediately get out the position. Maybe that will be faster than a limit sell that somehow has some kind of a delay. Maybe I just need to be faster, selling when I see the certain time that I bought isn't working for a bounce. I need to continue working on those type of things. And on top of that, I think I'm going to try trading like a $700 position, so a little more than 500, less than 1000, just to kind of prevent me from any bias of like, for example, a trade goes my way but I only traded small, and for that reason I didn't make much. Or when I'm unlucky and I trade a larger position on a stock that didn't work out, then it just burns me, right? Because then I'm like, I made money here, but it wasn't much because I didn't trade much size. And then the other one didn't work out, and I traded larger. So I think I should try to stick with $700 trades. And if I think something is very speculative, well, having to trade $700 will also help keep me away from any bad trades or not really nice setup. So this is my mindset right now. I'm just gonna keep looking through the chat to see what stocks have been moving. Otherwise, this is all that I have for right now. Alright, it's 9:37 a.m. OPTI. Considered it a little, just didn't like because there was a lot of sellers on the ask, and it looks like it's having a huge spike right now. That's very impressive. Just like that, it almost got to 11. I don't feel bad missing this one because it had a lot of people selling on the ask. A lot of people on the ask. That's a pretty impressive move that it did there, but I don't mind missing that one just because there was a lot of people on the ask. That's kind of like a low odds setup right there that it just didn't move like that. NSAV I was watching closely, but the volume isn't really there to trade. LTNC went up instead of down, which is fine. That means when it drops, it'll make a really nice move, I think. ETFN was just looking choppy and messy. Really, it's just OPTI at the moment, which I might already be too late for if it's going to spike this much this quickly. So that's pretty impressive. Good job, anybody who bought that. But I didn't buy that because that was way too quick, and the price, the level 2 didn't look that good when it was dropping initially. Today's like an all-day trading webinar thing, right, with Tim and Bryce, I think, and Matt too. So I will be watching that. I won't be too determined to trade. I'll definitely be watching it though. So yeah, this is where I'm at right now. LTNC, if it does like a break past 42, today being a Friday as well, that could be an impressive run. I think it tried before and it didn't get too far. It looks like yesterday. I guess the real level is 45 and it's at 40. It could try doing it, but it all depends on the price action. Alright, it's 9:43. Just a quick update. ETFM, I don't want to trade this because it could do a nice spike and I could totally be wrong, but it looks a bit just doesn't look very clean. Looks very choppy, not the best. Although we do have a big bidder here on the bid, and then not a lot of people on the ask, which is good, but it just doesn't seem that nice. I've seen much cleaner setups. OPTI, this one was very clean now at 1180, but the problem is that it's just not liquid. Doesn't trade with a lot of volume. Very illiquid. I did like it because it just cracked this 14-day, well, 30-day low, I guess. Right there, it just cracked it, which was pretty impressive because it like really shot it back up. Because I guess it just made it on discount or something. This is a very nice spike, but again, this one was too quick in that it wasn't any volume. So we've seen, I've seen way better setups. LTNC kind of broke out of this 40-cent range now at 41. There is a lot of people selling on the ask, but You know, if it keeps uptrending, maybe it'll try to make a top, or maybe on a dip. If it dips back to 40, maybe I'll consider a very small position, hoping that it can bounce at least maybe halfway back to where it came from. Let's see how high this one can continue, if it can continue at all. This is the state I'm at right now. I don't see any good setups beside this. I'll definitely keep looking though. Okay, 10:20 a.m. As for number 5 setups, there hasn't really been anything except for old PTI, which did it in a very jumpy, sketchy way. But hey, it did it, so that's pretty impressive. GGSN was alerted as a new pump by some chat room. I don't know who they are or whatever, but I actually considered buying this at 31. There was a few times when I considered buying it. The issue is that quite frankly, the few times I wanted to buy it, and if I wanted to, it would have been a very small position, just because it's a new setup. I'm not familiar with it too much. It would just be like a dip buy off a stock that's uptrending very nicely. I didn't buy it because there were just way too many sellers on the ask. And then when I checked back later, the stock showed so much support at 30 or 30 or whatever you want to call it, which is very important if you look at it in a 1-year chart, even though it's like never really been traded. If you look at a 10-day chart, it's not a stock that really trades. But the thing was that this thing held 30, right? And I wanted to buy it there, but when it cracked under it here and it cracked under it there, I was just thrown off, didn't want to really trade it anymore. But then eventually there was a lot of people on the bid supporting 30, not that many people on the ask, and if you look up past the ask, there wasn't really a lot of people there either, waiting to get their shares executed. It was a nice support at 30, very small at the ask at 31, and I didn't buy it. It was just too sketchy, because just not too long ago it cracked under 3 and there was a lot of people on the ask before, but it managed to break past that level and get as high as 38, which is super impressive. That's like what, a 20% move. And that would have been pretty easy on just 2 candles. You would be at 36, so that would have been pretty nice in terms of that. That's something good to learn. I just have to keep seeing setups like this again and again, and eventually I'll have the ability to push myself and consider trading them. So that's the case with that. LTNC, it's interesting because it could try to crack this level at 45 and make a very nice, like, massive move, but it's just not doing it. The volume is just not really there. The volatility is there, but the volume is not really there. SEVA, had I have been caught up with the recent OTC runners, there's a chance I could have seen the stock uptrending and maybe crack this level right here. That would have been a very nice buy. Maybe I would have never seen it even if I had it in my watch list, but I don't like the fact that it was never in my watch list to begin with. I need to really catch up and be more focused over the past 2 days. I just need to make time and really put in the effort to make sure I'm caught up with all the OTC. So that's a great lesson. And UAMM, I don't really know. I feel like asking the question and the thing, but I don't want to get roasted, right? But the idea here with UAM is that if this thing cracks 9 cents, which has been support over the past 10 days, right? Or if you want to be specific, 7 days. If this thing cracks 9, that could create a very nice drop. A lot of people who have stop losses might get screwed. It already tried the other day, immediately caught itself back up and spiked to 10. But if this thing were to crack 9 and actually crack, there is going to be support probably at 80, but it could be a nice crack and then a lot of stop losses go out. A lot of selling, a lot of panic selling, and then I'll be the guy who buys it right at the bottom ideally, and then it bounces back. Shorts were covering, if there are such thing as a short on this 9-penny stock, and then as well as people who just see a dip buy opportunity like me. caused by the just craziness of people selling their shares because it broke 9 cents. So that's the other setup that I'm looking at. Besides that, I don't see anything else that I would have really wanted to trade. There's another stock, CCTL. It's off 50%, but this thing has a skull and crossbones thing at OTCmarkets.com, I think. So I don't know, it's just kind of sketchy for me to want to buy something like that. So yeah, this is the state where I'm at. I'm still looking for setups, but I don't mind if I don't have any nice trades today. Hopefully maybe on Monday there's going to be a lot of good setups too. Okay, it is 10:54. Just a small update. EEIQ is like the main education stock that has been running, that has been pumping the other stocks like WAFU. The issue is that if this guy falls off a cliff, right, so are the other ones. I was considering like maybe if this thing is still showing some kind of a good thing, I don't know, HQGE. I considered it for a buy actually, thinking that hey, if EIQ keeps looking nice, maybe I'll be able to keep pumping stocks like HQGE, and it opened down. But even though it opened down, right, EIQ now at 18. I mean, it's still up 300%. The thing was at $34 though. HQGE, I thought it was gonna like maybe, oh, it won't be such a good setup because EIQ's dropping. No, it did this move from 87 to 91. It's not much in terms of percent gain, but it's like a move in the right direction, and that was the idea. But this is kind of weird that it just dropped, but this one spiked, so I don't mind missing this one at all. UAMM, I would consider it if it cracks 9. Somebody asked him about dip buying it. I wouldn't have dip bought it just randomly here at 9. I would have dip bought it if it were to have broken 9. Then that would have been better, like a max panic dip buy, not just randomly buying it here, just because the volume here is trash. LTNC looks like it's trying to uptrend towards its highs. Maybe if it keeps holding up, and it breaks like 41, that might be an interesting buy, but not really right now. GGSM, just don't want to trade it. Don't really know how these pumps work with that particular group. And yeah, it was nice. I considered it, when it was where was it? Yeah, right here, like for a buy at 31, I think. Right? No, it was right here. Excuse me. Yeah, right here. I was like, what? Yeah, it did it, but it was it didn't do it in the way I liked because it put up a lower low. Although it worked, it was just a low odds setup. I don't regret missing this one really. So yeah, I think the main play to really look at least as of now, is LTNC. It's only up 10% on the day. But the idea is that if it kind of breaks the high here, kind of holds it, confirmed breakout, maybe if I miss it, or just to play it safe, and then it kind of breaks this 44 level, that would be super interesting, but I don't know if that will happen or not. It's just a watch for now. Alright, it is 11:59 a.m. I would already be off if it wasn't for the live mastery event. So it's been pretty dry, but HQGE is doing a nice run. When it did a dip right here, I was considering buying because it kind of broke out this level right here, then it dropped not exactly at the level, but it dropped at it, and I wanted to buy, but I was thinking it was going to take longer, it was going to consolidate, put up higher lows, but it did a very quick spike instead from 95 to 1004. Not really the best, and eventually kind of kept putting up higher lows, and it made this uptrend to 11, so that's not bad, but I don't see any setups right now. Alright, it is 12:50 p.m. HQG decided to run a little more, but that was about it. Oh shit, I actually just missed it. LTNC is doing the thing I wanted, right? It's doing it now. Right, kind of broke this high right here at 45. We're right at it. I guess I'll have to keep looking. Maybe I won't call this off already. Alright, it's 12:56. Price action isn't really good. It just had a dip below 45, but it could be just like HQGE. No, not HQG. What was it? It was like GGSM, I think, and it had like a few dips below that 30 level, and then it eventually broke out. But not gonna be afraid of missing this one if it doesn't. If it does work out, just gonna play it safe, really. But that's kind of like what I'm looking at right now. It is below 45, so I'd have to play it cautiously. Maybe if it has a few dips down, and then it builds support like it did with GGSM. Otherwise, it's not going to be a trade here. And if I do trade, it's going to be a small position just to learn from it, really. Alright, it's 1:01 p.m. Yeah, I'm just going to call it off. It could do it later. It definitely could, but even if it works out, right, it has to go to 50 for it to be a 10% move. It seems like there's a lot of people who are on the ask. There is buying on the ask, but it just doesn't look that good. It could definitely do it. I'm not saying it won't, but it's just a bit too risky. Ideally, I would have seen this break here, uptrend, and then when it started consolidating here, that would have been the actual good trade, and then sell as it gets towards 45. Not sure if it's going to break out or not. Now this is like, is it going to break out and hold 45? I don't know. It can. The level 2 does look nicer now, but again, it would have to move a lot, like for what this stock is in terms of volatility, for it to be a 10% move. I don't mind missing this. I'm gonna call it off. HQGE could have bought into here, but I wanted it to be a slower consolidation before it came back. It didn't necessarily do that. ICBU, I saw it when it cracked this level here, and it wasn't really much of a setup. It wasn't like big red candles. I liked it because it kind of cracked to that 14-day or whatever you want to call it, the 7-day or something like that, low of 24. So it broke it, but it didn't break it nicely. It wasn't something that I would be wanting to trade. And UAMM, it actually did get below 9 pennies. It said that there was just no volume, no volatility. It immediately bounced back, sure, but that's about it. Gonna call things off. A good trading day. Gonna keep watching the live mastery and fulfill orders at the same time. Just gonna call things off and play it safe.